कांग्रेस पार्टी के अध्यक्ष श्रीमान नामदार ने ये कहा कि कांग्रेस ये मुस्लिमों की पार्टी है। ये तो बताइए कि मुसलमानों की पार्टी भी क्या सिर्फ पुरुषों की भी है कि महिलाओं की भी है?
That was a Prime Minister at his most aggressive best, and he in a sense unleashed the BJP's campaign for the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, and his nishana apart from the SP and BSP was certainly Rahul Gandhi. Now yesterday Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman during a press conference had said that the Congress will be responsible for any communal disharmony which plays out between from now till the 2019 Lok Sabha elections. Well, the Prime Minister took that a step forward with a direct attack on Rahul Gandhi's appeasement politics. He was at the Muslim-dominated Azamgarh area in eastern Uttar Pradesh. The Prime Minister pitched the BJP as a progressive, pro-development party and reduced the Congress to being a party which only is interested in appeasing the Muslims and has got nothing to do with them being developed. And in fact, the Prime Minister in his speech also targeted the fact that the Congress party was not concerned about the Muslim women. All they were bothered about was making the Muslim men happy. Now here we are going to break down for you the 5 most scathing attacks made by the Prime Minister today at his rally in Azamgarh. Well, the first point he made was that the Congress is a party which is only for Muslims. This is a takeaway he took from that meeting which Rahul Gandhi held with the Muslim intellectuals. He referred to Rahul Gandhi as Namdar. He said Namdar Congress fights for Muslim men, you know, and this is where it's an interesting turn he takes. He goes on to make a pitch for the fact that why isn't the Congress concerned about the women? Does Congress respect the rights of the Muslim woman? Is another point which he raised. And look at where he moves on from here. He says that the Congress has allowed triple talaq and nikah halala. Remember the strong pitch being made by the government this time round during the parliament session for actually going ahead with the triple talaq bill. He also went on to accuse the Congress of stalling the triple talaq bill. So important takeaways which are coming in from the Prime Minister's address at Azamgarh today, which is where he began his campaign from. And as we pointed out, his biggest attack certainly was on Rahul Gandhi for being appeasement policy rather than a development policy. In fact, there have been several reactions coming in immediately after the Prime Minister spoke today. Let's listen into them.
कांग्रेस पार्टी के अध्यक्ष श्रीमान नामदार ने ये कहा कि कांग्रेस ये मुस्लिमों की पार्टी है। ये तो बताइए कि मुसलमानों की पार्टी भी क्या सिर्फ पुरुषों की भी है कि महिलाओं की भी है? क्या मुस्लिम महिलाओं के लिए भी इज्जत के लिए, सम्मान के लिए, गौरव के लिए, उनके हक के लिए कोई जगह है क्या? पार्लियामेंट में कानून रोक करके बैठ जाते हैं।
4 साल बीत चुके हैं मोदी जी, अब हवाई फेंकना बंद कर दीजिए।
मोदी जी और उनकी पार्टी बलात्कारी जो तथाकथित और जिन पर इस तरह के गंभीर आरोप लगे हैं उनके साथ खड़े हैं।
Okay, at Viewpoint tonight we are asking this question as we head for the 2019 Lok Sabha elections. Is it going to be a Hindutva agenda versus the minority appeasement being played out not just by the Congress party but also by SP and BSP according to the BJP and the Prime Minister? Well, we're going to throw the floor open to our team of guests. We've got Ghanshyam Temari, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, with us right here in the studio. We've got Deshratan Nigam, member of the RSS. We have Manisha Priyam, who's a political analyst. Amiben Yagnik, who is a spokesperson for the Congress party, and Zafar Islam, who's back again after a long break, BJP spokesperson, and Atiq Rehman, who's an Islamic scholar. You know, my first question to you is, Ghanshyam, the fact that the Prime Minister chose Azamgarh, a Muslim-dominated area, you've often accused the BJP of being, say, anti-minorities, anti-Muslims. But look how he picked up this area and he's attacked you all where it hurts you the most.
Well, I would say what a petty speech. I have not seen any channel discussing the speech for more than a minute, because only on that headline the speech barely demands a mention. That the Prime Minister today, flashback 5 years back, Prime Minister used to speak about Achhe Din, Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas, jobs to youth, security to farmers, women's safety, better infrastructure, India's growth, and somewhere his communal agenda was lying in the shadow.
But Ghanshyam, he did raise the point about a triple talaq bill not being supported by the Congress party.
I'm saying 5 years down the line, his vision has narrowed down. He doesn't have an agenda for 2019. Now he's resorting to, in some way, stone pelting on the opposition, name calling of opposition leaders, not telling what is it that he accomplished in last 4.5 years, not questioning his own chief minister, who is re-inaugurating a scheme that we inaugurated in December 2016. Akhilesh Yadav ji has openly challenged the Ajay Singh Bist government of doing one expressway, one infrastructure project faster, better than what we did in our government. The Yogi Adityanath government has not responded. Today, that the Prime Minister does not choose to discuss governance demonstrates that there is a complete failure of his own agenda.
Ghanshyam, inside Parliament, to this point which you are making, that he's just going on ahead with those programs which are inaugurated by you, he said that मैं मानता हूँ कि आप लोगों ने शुरू किया, but मेरा सवाल आपको ये है कि आप लोगों ने इसको खत्म क्यों नहीं किया? Zafar, I'm going to take this question to you, Zafar. Zafar, today, okay, we will go back to Zafar in a bit. Let's go across to Mr. Deshatam Nigam. You know, Mr. Nigam, today, when the Prime Minister was there in Azamgarh, you know, when he chooses an area which is Muslim dominated, he did not choose an area which many would think would be something like, I say, a Varanasi or, you know, a Gorakhpur, so to say. I'm just giving examples. He chooses Azamgarh very carefully. He accuses the Congress party of being a minority appeasement, a Muslim ke liye party hai. He talks about the fact that, you know, they're only concerned about Muslim men and not about Muslim women. If that is not an agenda, then what is? I mean, this is what the opposition is saying.
Let me be very clear. The Prime Minister's program for laying the foundation stone for Purvanchal Express was much in advance and was not on the spur of the moment. The news about Congress being a Muslim party came yesterday, and therefore he was responding. His program for Azamgarh was finalized much in advance. So you can't say that he chose Azamgarh and therefore there is some kind of an agenda. And if you see his speech, that he was laying a foundation stone for a Purvanchal Express, which is a developmental agenda. However, while focusing on the development agenda, he was trying to expose the Congress, which is doing minority appeasement. And I'm rather very surprised and sorry to, yes.
Mr. Nigam, yesterday there was a categorical denial from the Congress party, even from some of the Muslim intellectuals who were at that meeting with Rahul Gandhi, and they said Rahul never said that a Congress is a Muslim party.
No, presuming for a moment that they are speaking the truth, but their stand on halala, their stand on triple talaq, what was done in reversing Shah Bano case and participating in beef festivals in Karnataka and you know, creating all such examples is a categorical admission on their fact that they are doing minority appeasement. And if you recall, Mahatma Gandhi in 1947 clearly said this party should be dismantled and dissolved. It should not be converted into a party, because that was a movement in which everybody participated. And he was apprehending all such kind of things, and therefore he was wise enough at that point of time to say that the Congress should have been dissolved then.
Why are we getting that here now?
Now we are paying the price for it.
You know, Amir Ben, the fact is that in Gujarat and Karnataka, you are going temple hopping. Rahul Gandhi was going to temples. Very few of them. I mean, I've travelled also, so very few masjid he went to. Now he calls the Muslim intellectuals. Now the BJP and perhaps I think even the Congress cadre is a little confused that what is it that the Congress party really wants to do now?
I think there is no confusion anywhere, and the problem of confusion lies at the end of the Honorable Prime Minister. 2019, he has no roadmap. He has to answer to the nation what happened to the promises on which he came in 2014. He has to answer why he does not go and talk about women's safety. We have just had 2-3 gang rapes in Gujarat in the last 3 days. No Twitter, nothing on the television from the Honorable Prime Minister. He should have chosen a place where the infants have died in the Uttar Pradesh state. He doesn't go there. He doesn't talk about them. He never responds about Nirav Modi. He doesn't say anything about NPAs. He doesn't speak about any scams. He doesn't speak about his photo with Afroz Fatta, 5,000 crores racket in Gujarat. So here he comes and talks about some news which the Congress disowns. And he doesn't talk about the meetings Rahul Gandhi has with salt people, the salt workers, the farmers, the women entrepreneurs, and all kinds of people, SC, OBC. He doesn't talk about that, but he comes and talks about something that is very convenient to him, and he doesn't want to answer to the people of this nation what is his roadmap for 2019. Utter failure on governance issues. No governance is shown anywhere.
Manisha, do you think for the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, we are going to go back to that whole agenda of Hindus versus the Muslims? You think that's exactly what it's going to be all about? The Hindutva agenda versus minority appeasement? Because in that, certainly, opposition political parties, many would argue, would be on a back foot.
No, I think it's too early to say that this would be the only agenda on which 2019 would be fought. From what I can see, the Azamgarh speech is clearly pitching towards literally the last big session of the parliament that's going to open next week. And this is going to be one of the things that's going to be placed on the agenda of the parliament. And you can see that Mr. Modi is not one of those who's going to go ever on the defensive, defending what he said, whether he did it or not. He wants to set his own agenda. And clearly the research results for this parliament session are out. It's a parliament session where a lot of smaller parties from around the country are likely to oppose the parliament on the floor of the house. Mr. Modi is chosen even before the parliament unrolls. He is telling us what the Congress party under Rahul Gandhi would be opposing him on. And remember, by his speech, he is trying to set the clock back. He is trying to set the clock back onto a particular Rajiv Gandhi moment, the Shah Bano case moment, and really no stuff, no substance in what he is speaking about, but he is able to very cleverly set the clock back. Having said these things, I would say the Prime Minister of a country need not act on the offensive in haste even before the parliament session has rolled out. Maybe all these allies that he fears might cooperate with him on the floor of the house. Maybe he goes to 2019 defending his Swachh Bharat, which he's done very well with, or defending his Ujjwala that's benefited the bottommost of the pyramid. So the Prime Minister of this country taking a typical Azamgarh agenda and turning the clock back on history, I think doesn't suit very well for a man who claims the mantle of Vikaswad, rightly so for many reasons. Okay. So I would see and hope that the days to come open up his flanks of developmentalism. And in the Karnataka elections, as much as anywhere else, I have seen that people wait saying, let Modi come. The Modi effect will be a 3-4% up. Okay. And they look at him typically for the promises that he can make for development. Let's see what time ahead lies in store. Hope it's not the Azamgarh moment all over again before we go into 2019.
Okay. You know, Zafar, look at the point which Manisha is making. You know, he did not speak like a Prime Minister should speak. Should he? You know, he wears both the caps. He's, of course, your star campaigner. He's a tall leader of the BJP, but he's also the Prime Minister at the end of the day. You think he needs to put the cap of that leader behind? He needs to speak as a Prime Minister, you know, calling Rahul Gandhi Namdar, talking about a meeting which Rahul held, which Congress party has officially denied as Rahul not having said it. You think that's something which should be avoided? He should be like more of a Prime Minister, a statesman like?
Pallavi, we are totally anti the policy of appeasement. All the Honorable Prime Minister has stated besides many other developmental status he has given to the people
But
of this
why
country.
did
in
he
his
choose
speech.
Azamgarh?
He has also
Then
raised
why
one
did
issue
he choose
that
Azamgarh?
why Congress is again resorting to the policy of appeasement.
No, wait. But
They are
why
trying
did
to
the Prime
divide
Minister?
society.
Why did you
If
choose
at all
Azamgarh?
They want to talk about Muslim. No, let me just complete. It's not it's chosen by Azamgarh may have been decided long back. The venue of Azamgarh may have been decided long back, and Rahul Gandhi has spoken only 2 days ago. I have personally read the newspaper. The headline very clearly says, "हाँ, ये मुस्लिमों की पार्टी है."
No.
This is very derogatory.
I'm sorry, Zafar.
deplorable
Irfan
on part
Habib
of a
has
leader of a
tweeted to
Congress
say,
party which has a history
Irfan
of more
Habib,
than
who
100
was a
years,
member
is speaking
No, Zafar.
on a divisive
Irfan
note.
Habib, who was a part of that meeting,
Pallavi,
tweeted
let me
to
just
say.
complete. I have not interrupted anyone. Let me
Yeah,
allow me to at least.
Okay, go ahead.
All I am saying that the Honorable Prime Minister, see, if the people are talking about Vikas, the development, the validation of all the developmental activities which has been done in last 4 years come from the rating upgrade. The whole world acknowledges that a lot of things have moved in the right direction, and country is moving in the right direction. The economy was in bad shape. Today everything is in order. Secondly, the mandate which people of India is giving time and again to the Bharatiya Janata Party is again a validation of the right policy adopted for safeguarding the interests of the people of this country, where all the welfare scheme which has been announced by the Bharatiya Janata Party led India government has benefited the people of this country. Manisha Prem was speaking about Ujjwala scheme. 22% Muslim women are the beneficiary of Ujjwala scheme. Does anyone speak about it? Do we speak about it? Does Prime Minister speak about it? Because even though we know the number is very clearly, you can see that the 22% Muslim women are the beneficiary of Ujjwala scheme, but we do not speak about it because it is our duty to work for the welfare of every community, not only the community, but the society as a whole, the nation as a whole. So our achievement has been validated by every single agency, every single people of this nation. Yes, who are losing this election after election? All the opposition parties, because they are only resorting to one practice of misleading the people, dividing the society, which we do not want to do.
Choosing Azamgarh and what he said there, does that worry you? Does that worry the Samajwadi Party or say even the BSP who you're talking about alliance with? I mean, don't you think that was a very clever choice of the Prime Minister?
No, we don't think so. One, he inaugurated an expressway that we had already inaugurated. Two, he did not speak about the agenda that India needs. So it is clear communication that the entire BJP is going to fall back on this singular agenda of divisiveness, which is what they are talking about. And three, in Uttar Pradesh, the Prime Minister's script has not changed since the 2017 election. 2017 election was about Shamshan Kabristan.
But you know,
it was
Mr.
about
Tiwari,
asking
in the
Eid,
UP
Diwali,
assembly elections this time round, the data showed up that there were several Muslims who actually voted for the BJP. Maybe you're getting it wrong. Maybe what they do actually want is progress. They want development, which perhaps that's what exactly the BJP is offering them now.
We would always believe that people of India want development, be it in Uttar Pradesh or in any other state. Even if we lose an election, we would believe in that. And this is the reason we celebrate the victory in Gorakhpur. This is the reason we celebrate the victory in Phulpur, Kairana, Nurpur. In Kairana, in as many words, people of Uttar Pradesh have spoken that Ganna versus Jinnah nahi chalega, sirf Ganna hi chalega. Speak about the farmers, don't speak about divisiveness. In Kairana, Prime Minister did a rally near Kairana few hours before polling. He did a road show of a 9-kilometer road where he travelled for 6 kilometers to show some development. The agenda of development has fallen apart. Jan Dhan Yojana is a massive failure. Banks are crumbling down. There is no response to the employment crisis that the nation is facing. The entire finance ministry is in a mess. Nobody knows who the finance minister is, who is not. As a result, the Prime Minister is only responding to the only agenda he knows he is the champion of, and that is the agenda of divisiveness. And today he has unleashed that agenda on people of Uttar Pradesh.
You know, Mr. Nigam, maybe Mr. Tiwari has a point. The point is that when he should speak out, he hasn't spoken out. I mean, a point which Amina Ben also was talking about, the fact is, for example, there were rapes, for example, taking place, harassment of women taking place. The silence was conspicuous. Why doesn't he talk also about that?
No, he does speak sometimes, but it is not his duty to always speak on these subjects.
Well, you had the same accusation against Dr. Manmohan Singh when the Congress party would give that argument.
No, no, Manmohan Singh never spoke. You can't compare the two. And let me tell you, at the same time, the development, India has become the 6th largest economy, and I think it is because of development agenda. It is going to become the 5th largest economy this year, as predictable. And you cannot say that India has become the 5th largest economy without any development agenda. I think all the accusations are belied by these facts. The development agenda is going at a breakneck speed, but at the same time, the Prime Minister is focusing on the exposing the hypocrisy of certain parties, the minority appeasement which is done, and he is very clear on it that while focusing on development agenda, he will not allow minority appeasement from the other side.
Okay. We've also got Mr. Atiq Rehman. He's an Islamic scholar who's also joining us. Mr. Rehman, when the Prime Minister, last UP Assembly elections we noticed quite a few number of Muslims actually voted for the BJP. So this traditional concept that BJP gets no Muslim votes, that was broken down. Today when the Prime Minister was there in Azamgarh, he talks about the fact that the only thing that the Congress party believes in is helping Muslim men. They've opposed, or they rather supported triple talaq, nikah halala and so on and so forth. You think the winds of change are flowing through Azamgarh and many such areas, and maybe what he said there is something which would get a lot of support for his party?
Well, exactly, Pallavi, to be very true, the Muslims were hoping a lot from the BJP, and particularly with the Prime Minister's position. I today will be speaking not as a Muslim, but how I see the Prime Minister of a country as has been articulated by the constitutional experts. That is, he is the moon amongst the stars, which he has, not shown so far. Besides, the BJP, swears in the name of Ramayana and Ram. The Prime Minister never showed us that Ram stood for, renunciation of power rather than grabbing power as the Prime Minister is doing now.
No, but wait, Mr.
Thirdly, the Prime Minister also fails us.
Mr. Rehman, it's the right of any politician to try and fight for power.
May I complete, sir?
Yeah, okay. Go ahead. Yeah, Mr. Rehman.
May I complete?
Yeah, go ahead.
We are looking towards the Prime Minister as a principled Prime Minister, Pallavi. And those principles cannot be seen, the Arth Shastra of Kautilya, Kautilyas Arth Shastra remains to be seen as a Prime Minister with complete, control over the senses. Here we cannot see this. All the three important fronts of the Indian ethos, the Prime Minister cannot maintain. So how can we really see towards the Prime Minister as a community, as an Indian, as a Muslim, as a Hindu, to what exactly he is delivering? The government of BJP came on minimum governance and maximum deliverance. We can't see any deliverance. So these are larger questions to be asked and to be answered by the BJP. Congress apart, we have not gained, the Muslim community has never gained out of Congress anything.
Zafar, would you want to reply to that?
See, again, what he is resorting to, again, mislead the Muslim community. He is not a representative of Muslim community. He does not actually command the respect of the Muslim community. He is on his own. He is just pursuing the agenda of some political party that the behest of the Congress party or the RJD party. He is speaking like a Muslim scholar, but he is fully aware that it is Bharatiya Janata Party which has safeguarded, which has worked in the interest of the nation. We beat Muslim community, beat other community. Everybody is the beneficiary when you work for the nation.
You are undermining
Congress party who has only approached and adopted the policy of appeasement, which has never done. They have never implemented. They have never delivered. That's why Muslim community is in situation what it is today, purely because they have been misled, they have misused, and they have been always Congress party attempted to appease them, but they have never done anything
Okay,
for the community. And a scholar like him
the fact
will never
is
accuse Congress
that,
party,
you know,
because
the
they
youth,
are paid
the
scholars.
young
They are the ones
people,
who work only at the behest of the Congress party, because they have no agenda. Muslim community
the
does not
point
recognize
is,
them
allow
as
me
the
to
representative
rebut,
of
please.
the
Mr. Rehman,
community,
एक minute.
and that's why, because they can never,
the fact is that the Congress party has often looked upon the Muslim community as a vote bank. I mean, it's been years. You've had 2 terms at the center. The Sachar committee recommendations, for example, you know, they want jobs, they want educational facilities.
I can't hear you.
Zafar, 1 minute. Zafar, please, you made your point. That's really unfair. Zafar, that's very unfair. No, Zafar, 1 minute. Enough. I've heard you. You made your point. Amiben, I have to ask you this question. You were in power twice over at the center. You were very obviously, openly Muslim appeasement policy. Dr. Manmohan Singh mentioned that about having the first right, Sachar committee recommendations, all of that was talking about. At the end of the day, aren't you guilty of looking upon the Muslim community as only a vote bank, which is why over the years, they stopped voting for you?
I think, Pallavi, that is completely misplaced. The Congress party in both his terms as UPA has only looked after all the citizens. Whether you look at all the legislation, no, you look at all the legislation, it was meant for everybody, not for a particular community. This is a trap that is laid by the BJP people. They continuously speak of all this. They never talk about India as a whole nation. The Congress did only for all the 125 crores of people. The BJP did nothing. The Prime Minister, I think, should stand on his own track record, not talk about other parties or point fingers at the failures of other parties or appeasement of other parties. It means that he has nothing to show. He has done nothing in the 4 years if he has to resort to this kind of tactics. And the second thing I would like to point out, that we are talking of a Prime Minister who projects himself as a statesman. Where is the statesmanship? In every rally, in everything, you have to bring these kind of gimmicks. You don't have any roadmap. You have no governance model. You have not told the truth to the people of this country. And one very important point, where is the Margadarshak Mandal?
Okay, wait. Let's not walk that down that road.
If he has not seen the track record of the country for the last 6 decades, the Margadarshak Mandal members have seen it.
1 minute. I mean, I don't know why we are talking about that. There are Margadarshak Mandals even within the Congress party. Manisha, do you, as you listen to everyone, do you get a sense that whether you like it or not, the 2000 elections will slowly turning towards that? We're a couple of months away from the Lok Sabha elections, and if you go by what the Prime Minister's speech is, the fact that Rahul Gandhi decides to have this sudden meeting with the Muslim intellectuals, you think almost every political party, particularly the Congress and the BJP, is now understanding that this is the game they'll have to play.
I mean, I can't for the life of me understand why meeting some Muslim intellectuals, I mean, I hate to use that term, but yes, Rahul Gandhi did select a group that was, it didn't consist of all intellectuals, it was a subset based on religion, but that's not equal to Muslim appeasement. Maybe there is an issue, the Sachar committee has a recommendation and he meets them. I would consider Shahbano to be an appeasement, but meeting intellectuals like Zoya Hassan or Irfan Habib or anybody else like that, I mean, how is this Muslim appeasement by any chance? Shahbano is, and the Congress party has not been in power. Who's in power right now? The BJP is in power. So I would certainly like the BJP, led by their Prime Minister Narendra Modi, now to talk of their delivery and performance. Remember, Mr. Modi addressed nearly 550 rallies, made direct promises to people. It's not about the echo chambers in Delhi. It's not about the television channels. I'm one of those few who's actually tracked the rallies in nearly 50-degree heat in the Gangetic plains of India. Now, one would like, at the end of these 5 years, to see a different model of campaigning, maybe go back to each of those 550 places and tell us whether the promises made have been delivered or not. I'm not so hopeless that you need to go back to these kind of agendas. I put my hand in the developmental file and I don't get very disappointing results. No, just a minute. So I'm surprised that preempting their electoral rally, they have to turn the clock back. Why are they going back on what could be their own successful plan? I'm surprised at this, but I will wait for the days to come out.
But maybe that's the state of our politics now. Mr. Tiwari, is that what's going to happen? Because see, look at it. The Samajwadi Party realized that aligning with the Congress Party in assembly polls did not actually work for you people. It actually was a detriment to the Samajwadi Party. And your vote bank is also critically the Muslim vote bank. You think it's essentially going to be a compulsion on all of you, even the Samajwadi Party, to actually play this card?
No. In fact, even after a massive defeat, Samajwadi Party came back speaking about the same campaign, Kaam Bolta Hai. You look at the campaigns run by Samajwadi Party even today, speaking about Hamara Kaam Abhi bhi bol raha hai. And the reason why BJP's agenda crashes on this front is, what will Prime Minister talk about? He cannot speak about the slogan of Achhe Din. He cannot talk about Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas in the backdrop of lynching and what has happened. He cannot talk about jobs which were not created. He cannot talk about women's safety the way he talked about in 2013. He cannot talk about Pakistan terrorism the way he talked about. He cannot talk about corruption in the way he talked about. The major pillars of his campaign of 2013 have crashed when it comes to governance. The only thing that he can talk about is now this acidic campaign, poisonous campaign that is already unleashed by his party members and cronies on the ground. Look at the way these same people attacked Sushma Swaraj. The reason nobody stood up for Sushma Swaraj is there is this campaign which is on the way, and in the backdrop of such a campaign, standing up for Sushma Swaraj is not a good idea.
But you know, Mr. Nigam, at the end of the day, people will ask for an account. No, 1 minute, Zafar. Mr.
Can I just respond to that, please?
Yes, Zafar, go ahead, but very briefly, because I want to ask Mr. Nigam this question. Yeah, go on. Yes, Zafar. Go ahead.
No, let me respond to Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari. If they are blind, we can't help it. The world is recognizing the achievement of the Honorable Prime Minister of the India government. World is acknowledging it. World is giving a thumbs up. World is realizing that India is growing and that is the 6th largest economy, and that cannot happen in isolation unless there are a lot of developmental activities which is taken place in the country. But Samajwadi Party and the entire leadership will remain blind. They do not want to see the good thing. They only want to mislead the people of this country. They have failed miserably when they claim that they have done a lot of development work in Uttar Pradesh. People didn't buy those arguments, and at the end of the day, they have been completely despaired, routed in Uttar Pradesh, and they will face the same thing. Even in 2019,
Mr. Nigam.
People wanted change. People wanted a party which can deliver. People do not want this kind of noise. What Samajwadi Party has been doing in the last several years.
Zafar, Zafar, 1 minute. You made a point. You see, listen, this is also a little unfair. Zafar, 1 minute.
And we have been doing it and will continue to do that.
Zafar, 1 minute. Mr. Nigam, on one hand, there are lynching going on, issues over the beef ban going on, and then you have the BJP talking about development for the Muslims over there. The Prime Minister talks about it in Azamgarh. Do you find a contradiction between the two of them? I mean, Jayant Sinha, you know, he apologizes, but no one from the party pulled him up. From the podium of the press conference, no one pulled him up. Don't you think the Muslims are also watching this? My question to you, Mr. Nigam, first. I'm going to ask this question again in a little bit to Mr. Rehman, but to you first, Mr. Nigam. Aren't the Muslims also watching this? This is a contradiction.
No, let me tell you, as far as lynching is concerned, there is a pattern to it, and we must investigate the cause and the people who are doing it.
How long?
And as
3
the
years,
elections are
4
approaching,
years?
we have seen a pattern in it, and
when?
No.
When?
In fact, if you look at the data from last 20 years, the lynchings have been going on. And let me tell you, I'm very clear.
That's no
Muslims
justification, Mr. Nigam. I'm sorry.
Delivery of schemes on the ground.
Something which has been going on, you can't stop it.
I am not justifying it. I am saying we have to find the cause and stop it. That is what my emphasis is.
Yeah.
And secondly, Muslims are certainly watching it. They are getting benefit of the schemes like Ujjwala scheme and rural electrification, which are not religion specific or caste specific.
But they also don't want to die
by rhetoric,
They don't want, they also want to walk fearlessly. Mr.
No,
Rehman.
I'm sure law and order.
Mr. Rehman, Mr. Nigam is making
Nobody is getting killed. Muslims are not getting killed in India. They are getting killed in Islamic world. It is not in India. If India, one or two incidents are happening, law agencies are taking care of it and strictly taking care of it.
Mr. Rehman, would you want to reply to that?
May I come in, Pallavi?
Yeah, go ahead.
Pallavi, you see the things are very much clear. Here the thing is the Prime Minister and the BJP, whatever they speak against the Congress, whatever they speak against the Muslim community, lynchings, everything, you know, they are maintaining a very perfect consolidation of the Hindu votes. So it's a win-win situation for the BJP, whatever they do. So now whatever explanation they are coming with, now equate the arguments of Shashi Tharoor and the Jayant Sinha episode. What else the Muslim community are expected, they are expecting too. How should we view these developments? What Hindu Pakistan is very much elucidated by Jayant Sinha. And anybody denying this will be, you know, living in a fool's paradise.
Zafar, would you want to reply to that? Very quickly, Zafar. And little Zafar, would you want to reply to that very quickly?
See, Pallavi.
Yes,
see,
I'm listening.
When Rahul Gandhi makes that kind of a statement to mislead the people of this country, to divide the society, these people will not question Rahul Gandhi. When the Honorable Prime Minister only highlighted and questioned Rahul Gandhi
what do you mean? Who's not questioning? Everyone is questioning. All of us question. Please, let's not do this.
The Honorable Prime Minister, the hypocrisy of such people, the hypocrisy of this party, of Congress Party and Samajwadi Party has not been exposed. The people of India have realized that they have only adopted the policy of divide the society for the lust of power. They will continue to do so.
But what do you have to show to the nation? What has done except polarization?
You know, it also leaves.
We made to pay the price.
1 minute, Zafar. 1 minute. Okay, Amiben, the fact is that it does lead to a little bit of confusion. Now, you have an AK Antony Committee report which in 2014 said that an excessive minority appeasement actually works to be detrimental to the Congress party. Suddenly in Gujarat and Karnataka, you know, we find, you know, a Hindutva, you know, a push being given, Rahul going to temples. You're being very, very careful with words. You don't want to use words like Hindu terror. Atiq Vijay Singh, for example, being sidelined. Isn't this sending very confusing signals? Aren't you equally guilty what you're accusing the BJP of? Aren't you also playing the religion card?
No, I think Pallavi, no, not at all. Just because Rahul Gandhi went to temples, which has been going, but this time the media followed him because in Gujarat, he took an extensive tour and everywhere we went, Gujarat is, you find only temples everywhere. And so the BJP was worried. See, the temples or going to temples is not the ijara of the BJP. Anyone can go to temples and so did Rahul Gandhi go. So they should not be worried. They should stand on their own legs. If they have a track record, if they have delivered their promises, but they cannot pinpoint to other parties, and whether the Antony Committee, it was an internal report, the Congress party will follow it or look at it. But
no,
somebody is sidelined, somebody is not sidelined, is not to be observed like that, because you have seen what has happened to Advani ji. If he's in the Margdarshak Mandal, why is sitting there on the dais with him completely silent?
What is it got to do with
Mandal
this?
should give him some guidance.
वो तो आपके party में भी there's a problem ना, Amiben.
Worry about your own party.
Amiben, there's a problem even in the Congress. Many of the seniors have also been. Many of them have been silent.
Nobody is accepting the leadership of Rahul Gandhi. It's a big challenge for you. It's a big challenge for Congress party. His leadership is being questioned.
Then why are you worried?
Not accepted
by why are you worried?
These are conversations of equity.
Then why are you worried? Why is the Prime Minister worried? Why are you worried?
It is for you to worry.
Why are you
Do not
worried
talk
and the
about
BJP
our
is worried and the
Margdarshan
Prime
Mandal.
Minister
Do not
is
talk
worried?
about
Why can't you? No, you cannot stand on your
We
legs.
know exactly how
You
to respect
cannot
our
stand on
seniors
your
of
legs.
class.
Okay, both
And
have
we
time
are
out.
being-
Time out.
we are being
Any
guided by
promises.
all the
Yes,
senior
Mr.
leaders.
These are
But
You have
conversations of
not
the echo
done.
chamber.
You have not
What is
delivered
it?
on your
Leader,
promises.
And you
1
have
minute.
promoted him
Zafar.
as your
Okay,
leader even though
Zafar.
there is no performance to back it.
Okay, Zafar, Amiben, please. Mr.
I
Tiwari,
think
go ahead.
these are conversations of echo chamber. What is it that people want to listen? People want to listen that there is flooding in many parts of the country. What response do you have both in urban infrastructure and rural infrastructure? Does anybody ask that question? Does anybody answer? 20 states are ruled by BJP. Has any chief minister stood out as an excellent chief minister for that state? The answer is no. Look at the Hapur lynching case. The man who was injured today spoke about the police apathy and how police was participating in the crime. When BJP raises
So
the issue.
he's talking about lynching, you're bringing rural. Zafar, this is a little
about the rural
unfair.
development and
No,
urban
Zafar,
development. Do you
let
know
him speak.
how much rural
Zafar, 1
infrastructure
minute.
have been
Zafar,
developed in last
no,
4 years? How
why-
much road we have constructed?
Yeah, but
The
every
legs
time-
of road, more than 1
Zafar,
lakh kilometer we have been
I think Zafar, what you do not get
Every
is
time-
what you and the Prime Minister is not getting is
which was
the
unprecedented.
questions that people are asking, and their aspirations are very, very basic. Give me a job, give me better education, give me better health care, ensure that there
What
is
you
no
are not
flooding,
getting, that's
ensure
why you
that
have been
people are not in
routed.
threat,
You
none
better
of us become
understand
mobs
the
or none of us
dynamics,
become
the
victims
political
of
landscape.
mob,
You are
ensure that
trying
there is
to
a civil dialogue
only
on
divide the
television.
society.
That is what
See, in
what
terms
people
of-
want.
in
And
terms
give
of
us
our
better
achievement, in
government.
terms of
You give
delivery, we
a
have
chief
been able
minister
to deliver
like Biplav
to
Dev
the
in one state
expectation of
where
the
you
people
won
of
a
this
massive
country.
mandate. You give another
You
chief minister
said-
like Ajay Singh Bisht,
You
Yogi
know,
Adityanath
Manisha-
in
delivered,
another state.
and
When
this
you
is the
give
response of the
diabolical
people of this
personalities as
country.
leaders
See,
of
Manisha,
what you have,
why
how
do
you
you
have
governance is going to
thrown
suffer.
I mean, no,
How you have been
the point you're
thrown out
making,
in
the
Uttar Pradesh is something
the
which
point
is
you're
an
making,
example for
Manisha,
everyone to see.
is that one hopes that this is just a momentary thing, and ultimately the 2019 Lok Sabha elections will be about development, those issues. But why do you think, in your calculation, the Prime Minister spoke about, Congress being a Muslim party, Congress is doing only for Muslim men and nothing for the Muslim women? He's obviously reaching out to the Muslim vote bank as well. But why do you think the Prime Minister said what he said? Was there a calculated move behind it?
See, there is as I told you, this is the penultimate Lok Sabha session that's going to happen. This government is now ultimately cash strapped. They don't have too much money. They've got to roll out something called Ayushman Bharat. Remember, the discussion should be focused at this point of time around the one big bang announcement in the last budget, which everybody said would be a winner for this government. So remember, this means nobody is talking about Ayushman Bharat. And already I can see that the smaller parties, the NCP, the TDP have said that for various issues, they would put this government on the mat in the floor of the House. So this session, just like the last session, likely to see a lot of noise, a lot of sound bites coming from the smaller parties trying to assert themselves and flex their muscles. The government is going to be on the back foot. Why the Prime Minister chooses Azamgarh, where Rahul Gandhi is not even an incumbent MP from there. I don't think his party has got an MP from Azamgarh, does it? I don't quite remember. But I'm surprised that Azamgarh should be chosen to target Rahul Gandhi, who's neither in power in UP nor in power in the center, but to refer to a historical allegory of something his father did with Salman Khurshid, then the Shah Bano moment. So really, this is a kind of filibustering, but this time the filibustering is happening outside the portals of the parliament. I'm quite sure that this is in anticipation of 18th, when the Lok Sabha portals will open up for big debate to come, where many voices will be heard from many smaller parties. At this point of time, however, the Prime Minister is deciding to choose who his opposition is. And remember, in the comparison between him and Rahul Gandhi, it is really no match. Everybody knows who's the man of the moment. Everybody knows who's the winner of the moment.
Okay.
It's unfortunate, however, that Azamgarh should be sending out messages that clearly have religious overtones. In the road to come, however, I would still conclude by saying that I would be happy to talk about Swachh Bharat, Ujjwala, two of those schemes that I see as working very well for the government. Maybe it gets some electoral dividends in the states that are going for elections at the end of this year. At this point, let's not try and trivialize and communalize the poll agenda for the states as well as 2019.
You know, Mr. Nigam, at the end of the day, the people, you say, the BJP says that this in 2019 Lok Sabha elections is going to be about progress and work done. Is that what the Prime Minister is aiming at? You know, trying to reach out to the women vote bank, pointing out the SP, BSP Congress as a regressive party. Do you think that's his agenda?
No, in fact, it is well known that these are the regressive parties who, in fact, feed on the miseries of the Dalits and the backwards, and they want these people to remain backward and poor so that they remain their vote bank. And Prime Minister clearly knows about it, and he's targeting the voters, and he's reminding them time and again this is what these people are. And the development agenda and the Ram Raj issue, they are one and the same, and to make a distinction between the two is something which is not desirable. And most of these parties must understand they are high on rhetoric and trying to create a perception that there is no development going on, whereas schemes after schemes like Mudra Yojana, like Ujjwala Yojana, rural electrification, so many schemes are on the ground. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Gram Sadak Yojana, the phenomenal work is going on. But if you ask these people some specific data from their time, they have no data. In fact, if you ask them something, what is your alternative agenda, alternative specific policies, they have no answer except rhetoric and anti-Modi agenda. I don't see anything else in them, and that is what Prime Minister knows about it. And why not expose these parties? The development agenda is going on at a breakneck speed, and why not expose these parties who are squarely based on minority appeasement and trying to make Dalit and backward remain poor for all times to come.
But you know, Mr. Nigam, maybe you've got a point there, but there are still some sticky questions which remain. Why is it that no one is talking about lynching? Why is it that every time we talk about lynching and raise a question over there, we are countered by saying, so what, development is taking place? You make the issue about Dalits, but remember the Dalits are also being attacked. Why doesn't anyone stand up for them? Is it that every political party at the end of the day is equally guilty of appeasement? We are not using the word minority or majority, and I would like to conclude by sharing the thoughts of Manisha that I hope 2019 elections is not about any religion, it's really about issue, the work done and the work perhaps which is not done. But thank you so much for your viewpoint. Thank you very much, Mr. Tiwari, Zafar, Manisha, Amiben, and Mr. Nigam, as well as all of you. In fact, Mr. Rehman as well. Thank you very much for your viewpoint.